You sent them something real, something vulnerable, and they just disappeared. No explanation, no warning, just silence. And now you're sitting there wondering, did I say too much? Did I push them away? Is this my fault? It's not. But here's what nobody's telling you. That disappearance, that sudden coldness, it might not be avoidance. It might be a test. And if you don't know how to recognize it, you'll keep failing it not because you're weak, but because no one taught you the rules of a game you never agreed to play. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you changes everything. I know how exhausting this is. You've probably replayed the conversation 100 times. You've probably asked yourself, why do I always attract people who run the moment things get real? You've probably swung between wanting to reach out and wanting to disappear yourself just to see if they'd even notice. You are not crazy. You are not too much. You are someone with a deep capacity for love, who has been quietly shaped by relationships that reward you for shrinking yourself. And that is exactly what makes you a target for this kind of behavior. This isn't about blame. It's about finally understanding what's actually happening so you can stop reacting from fear and start responding from power. The psychological revelation. Let's talk about what I call the boundary echo chamber. Here's the psychology. Avoidance people with an avoidant attachment style don't just fear intimacy. They have a deeply buried belief that if they let someone truly close, that person will eventually control them, suffocate them, or leave them. So they've built a fortress, high walls, a drawbridge they control. But here's what most people miss. Avoidants don't just withdraw. Sometimes they probe. They send out little signals, subtle, almost invisible behaviors, to see how you'll respond. Will you chase? Will you panic? Will you abandon your own needs to accommodate theirs? This is the boundary echo chamber. They push slightly, and they listen for the echo. If your echo says, I'll do anything to keep you close, the walls go up higher. Because to an avoidant brain, that level of need feels like a threat. Sound familiar? Now, this doesn't mean they're doing it consciously. Most aren't. This is deeply wired behavior, often formed in childhood, where emotional unavailability was modeled as normal. They don't sit down and think, let me test them today. But the effect? Exactly the same. And as an empath, someone whose nervous system is wired for deep attunement, you feel these tests acutely. You pick up on every micro shift in their energy, and your instinct is to fix it, smooth it over, make it okay. That instinct is exactly what they're unconsciously counting on. Let me paint you a picture. It's a Monday. Things have been good, really good, actually. You've had a few nights of real connection. You start to feel safe, so you open up. Maybe you text them something like, I really like where this is going. You make me feel seen. And then, nothing. 6 hours pass. You check your phone. Read receipts are on. They've seen it. Your heart starts to race. You start replaying your words. Was it too much? Too soon? Did I scare them off? By hour 8, you've drafted 3 follow-up texts. One casual, one apologetic, one that just says, hey, and deleted all of them. Then, right before bed, they reply with, haha, yeah. And somehow, that non-response relieves you. You exhale, crisis averted. But listen to me carefully. What just happened wasn't random. You just passed their test, but not in the way you think. You waited. You didn't flood them. So they came back. But now your nervous system has just been trained. Reach out equals threat. Hold back equals reward. That cycle, that's the boundary echo chamber in motion. And every time you go through it, it becomes more automatic, more painful, more you tolerating less. Here's where most empaths get it wrong. And honestly, I've done this too. Mistake hash shown. You over-explain yourself. When an avoidant goes cold, your instinct is to clarify. To say, I didn't mean it like that, or I just want you to know I'm not pressuring you. You think you're making it safer. You're actually signaling anxiety. And anxiety is exactly what triggers their withdrawal reflex deeper. Mistake hash 2. You mirror their distance. You think, if I pull back too, maybe they'll come forward. Sometimes this works short term, but if you're doing it strategically, to manipulate a reaction, you are now playing the same game and slowly losing yourself in the process. Mistake hash 3. You make their comfort your responsibility. This one is the deepest cut. You start softening your needs, celebrating yourself less, sharing less, shrinking yourself so there's nothing left for them to feel threatened by. And then one day you look in the mirror and you barely recognize the version of yourself you've become in this relationship. That's not love. That's adaptation to emotional unavailability. So what do you actually do? Here's the framework I call the grounded return. Step 1, name the pattern out loud to yourself, not to them, to you. When you feel that anxiety spike after sending something vulnerable, stop. Say, this is the test. I am not responsible for managing their discomfort. This interrupts the automatic chase response. It sounds simple. It is not easy, but it is powerful. Step 2. Delay your reaction by 20 minutes. Not forever, just 20 minutes. Empaths feel first and think second, which is a superpower in the right relationships and a vulnerability in this one. That 2-0-minute window is where your nervous system starts to regulate. You stop reacting from the wounded part of you and start responding from the wise part. This one shift changes everything. Step 3. Respond once, clearly, and then hold your ground. If they've gone cold, you're allowed to say something once. Something like, hey, I noticed a shift. I'm here when you're ready. That's it. You've extended warmth. You've held your boundary. You haven't chased, and then you let it be. What you're doing is refusing to be an echo chamber. You're giving them silence back, not from manipulation, not from games, but from self-respect. Step 4. Redirect your energy within 24 hours. Call a friend, work on a project, move your body, not to distract yourself, but to remind your nervous system that your world does not begin and end with their response. This is how you rebuild the inner security that avoidant dynamics slowly erode. Each step is a message to your own nervous system. I am safe. I do not need to chase to survive. Now, a warning because this is important. When you start holding your ground, something will happen. The avoidant may come back. Warmer, more attentive, more like the person you fell for in the first place. This is called hoovering, and it's one of the most disorienting things you'll experience, because your heart will say, see, it worked, they changed. But here's the truth, this warmth is often a response to the distance, not a reflection of genuine change. If the underlying pattern hasn't been addressed through real communication, through therapy, through consistent behavior over time, the cycle will start again. Don't let a good week erase months of data. Hope is healthy. Blind hope is how you stay stuck. You came into this video feeling confused, maybe hurt, maybe wondering if something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You are someone who loves deeply, who feels everything, who keeps showing up even when it costs you. That is not a flaw, that is a gift. But gifts can be taken advantage of when they're given to people who aren't ready to receive them. You don't need them to change. You need to stop waiting for a version of them that only shows up long enough to keep you hoping. The most powerful thing you can do starting today is to stop being an echo chamber and start being yourself, fully and unapologetically. Because the right person will not need to test you. They will thank you for the same openness that made you feel like too much before. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe, because next week, we're going deep on why empaths feel addicted to avoidant partners, and what that's really telling you about your own attachment wounds. You deserve clarity. You deserve peace. Go get it.